All right, guys, Sam back with you here on Tuesday, October 9th here. And as we're doing traditionals now on Tuesdays, by request here, I've got the members interested in a look at the dollar to the Swiss. So again, as I'll remind you, whenever you're looking at foreign exchange, you really want to think long term. So I did, just to give you an example of why I say that. So here's the daily chart. And you think, oh, okay, all right, daily, that's enough. Well, you want to put things in context. So that's why I like to go either to the weekly or the daily. Here's the 3-day, which kind of puts this into perspective, right? So if we look here, right, so we've got this three-wave structure here. This looks like some sort of ABC. And we look here, we got a pretty well-established range right here. So if you're looking at that, you're kind of going, all right, well, it looks like we've got some sort of top range here. So this is where supply comes into the market, and we've got, pretty much you can make the same case down here that we have demand coming into the market. So we're in this, it's a pretty substantial range here. Remember, I'm on a 3-day chart. So we're bouncing between it. It looks like we're heading towards the upper range. So you look at that and you think, okay, well, first question is, why is it stopping here? What's the reason? Well, of course, you're not going to have to go too far to find out. All right, so swing high, swing low. All right, what do we do? Golden zone, right? They run the stops on the 618, same shit every day, guys, same thing. All right, so here, this is what's holding it. Now, that does not mean that we can't get through and that we must go down here to a lower target. It just means that when we get up here, supply enters the market. Algo starts selling. Well, they start selling at the 50. They're defending here. They're defending. That's got a target way, way, way down here. Right, so it just, as I will often tell you, that doesn't mean we can't break it, that it must go down here. Doesn't mean that. It just means that's why we have resistance there. Well, you think, okay, well, all right, so that's pretty well established. I know I've got resistance up here. What happened here? Well, that's a pretty infamous surprise rate cut, or rate cut, I think it was, that the Swiss central bank did here. And you say, well, shit, man, sky's falling. Where's it going? Right, so we go from 618 up here. It's a slight front run on the 618. That was straight down. I remember that was a very unusual event, right? So but where's it go? Right, it holds the 618. So you look at that and you think, okay, well, I'm stuck between two golden zones, right? So if we look here, all right, so golden zone to golden zone, we're just stuck in that range. So trying to identify, well, why are we in that range? Well, there's why. Right? And there's just a pretty wide range, so there's plenty of opportunity here to trade within it. And one of these is going to break, right? Eventually, they all break. Well, one side or the other. They have to, right? We'd be going sideways forever. Now, this has been going sideways for quite some time. We've been in this range since 2015, right? So it can certainly go sideways for a long time if you step back and you look at it on this kind of time frame. All right, well, with that established, that doesn't do much for us other than it's always good to have that longer term view. So this is very significant. So a break above this 65 would be significant. A break below that pivot going to be significant. So let's go from the 3-day down to the daily, see what we learned there, if there's anything we can learn from it. All right, let's go to the 12-hour. How about that? Cut the day in half and see how this looks. All right, so where are we in this whole process? All right, well, here was the the big sell-off, the surprise day. So, you say, okay, well, do I have a clear Elliott count off of that? Well, we can check here. You may actually, it looks like you could have it. Yeah, you would. Okay, so you could make a case. You could make a case that you had some very ugly diagonal off of this. So you had some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can make that case, right? It's not pretty, right? The extension's in the 1, right? That's right, it's imbalance in the market corrects itself. So maybe you make that case that you've got a 1 there. So if that's a 1, well, of course, we're just going to draw it up. If that's the 5, well, here we go, right? So we got through the 50, but we're not to the 618. So right now, it's hard to argue with, well, the current trend looks like we've had some sort of impulsive move off of this pivot down here. And it looks like this certainly looks like you've got ABC here. So it looks like you'd have to do it this way. So you could certainly go A, B, C into that. And you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish it. So you got a good contender here. So you could make a case that that's a 1, 2. All right, if that's a 1, 2, that implies higher prices. So coming off of that, we could probably make a pretty strong case. That looks like that's That's a tricky one here. We'll have to measure that. It looks like that's your 1, that's your 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 are all still to come. But let's go from the 12-hour. Let's go to the 3-hour, see if we can get a clean count out of that. Well, this looks like your deepest retracement. So coming off of this low, we get, well, it's amazing. All right, so what do we get there? 50 to the tick, right? So right to the, literally, no, God, it's just, it never fails, right? So here we get 50 to the tick, right to target, right? So algos get paid. There's the reaction. How do we know it's an algo? Because of this, the reaction at target. That's what so we don't have to wonder what happened there. Okay, so let's start putting that together. So if that's 1 and that's 2, perfect example of how we combine Elliott wave with the algo play. Well, it looks like this would be the 1, 2. This looks like we'd have a leading diagonal in the 1 of the third, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why I think what we end up getting, well, let's see, so we'd have to do it this way. So if that's complete, let's go to a smaller degree here. We'll go down to white. So this is 1, 2. Right, so this looks like 3, 4, and 5 to complete the 1. So let's check that 2 to the 3 for the 4. All right, so that, yeah, so that looks likely, right? So a tick in front of the 38, very probable zone for the, now, but this is the, so here's a good example, right? So we don't get target, right? Just because the target's there doesn't mean they always get there. Now, it's certainly possible here that could get there, but note the break here, right? But that's we got to pull all the way back. All right, so once we go, well, let's see, let me get it right on there. If indeed we have completed this as a one-way, let me get that. Oh, green's fine. Let's go to, excuse me. We go sub minuet. Okay, well then this would of course then we'd have to look at it this way. Okay, if that's a completed 5-wave structure with a truncated fifth, right? So essentially it's a double top, right? So if we get that, we could certainly make the case that this looks reasonable to say, oh, it looks like there's some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some sort of diagonal into the A. This looks like the B, and it looks like you can make a pretty strong case for that C to have completed down here. 1, 2, it could be 3. Well, it could be an A, B, C in there. So you get a little triangle in there. So you've got this that you often will see in a 4th wave. So you've got well, you get the idea. So we'd have this. Come on. All right. So there's our little, very commonly found in the 4th. So there's the push down. So that creates the C of the 2. So you could make a pretty strong case here. Now this is not ideal, right? So it makes it more problematic because that we run into this double top structure. Not that we don't see it. We see it all the time, but it's, you know, it's not ideal. You'd have more confidence if you had the 1 up here, if you had the 5th up there, because then you have to figure out how we got the 5 out of that 3. But I can certainly see the 1, 2, 1, 2, looks like 3, 4, 5 into that 3rd. Now we'd have to go down to maybe a 30-minute to dig it out. But because this was so technical at the 38, I would lean into that as my 1 wave. 2, right where we'd expect it, between the 50 and the 618. So that would imply that all we've done is put in a 1, 2. So if I've got that, I'm going to certainly get median lines on it. This is slightly higher, so I'm going to use that. All right, so coming back the other way. Well, we certainly are going to have algos to deal with, but we can see, you can just eyeball that, and you can tell that they've broken, right? So we're well through. What did we run into? The 786. So well through all of that. So strong candidate here for a 1 wave. Here, ideally, you'd get the median line, 4 and 5. Let's put that in blue, and we'll go to micro. Okay, now let's go yellow. Okay, so just so you can see it. Okay, so 1, 2. So this sets up rather nicely here. Now, a failure to make the median line implies weakness, but that's awfully close here. So maybe there's one more little kick up to tap that. Make sure we are right on it. It's mighty close, but that looks fairly solid. So, all right. So if this ABC is in, well, we've got essentially we're just straight up into a 1 wave. So where's the next trade? Right? It's not rocket science. Okay. So good. Okay. Pretty straightforward. So well, note here first we have a corner pocket, right? So, you know, it's tough to call that, right? So failure to make it implies weakness for a move that would imply a deeper move. But if we're trading this as a 1, 2, well, about as far as we'd want to allow that to go is to the 786. So if we look over here, it's just a question of what kind of shape does it take? So we'd want to see something along these lines. All right, so we get 3-wave, looking for that as our target. So same idea as the prior video. You're trying to get a roadmap and put it together. Say what's most probable. Well, so I've got a good pivot here. I've got a straight reaction up off of it. I've broken through the algos that would be shorting off of this dominant pivot. Sorry. So you know, until we start to come off of that a little bit more, we just don't know, right? We just don't know if that's the hard pivot there. There certainly could be more in that to get up and get to the median line. Could be going to get up to it. I mean, we just don't know, right? So until that starts to pull off, and at least you get 38 off of that, then we know we've got a fairly good pivot. Right now, it's still suspect as to whether or not we've got a hard pivot in there, but we certainly have an impulsive move off of this low. So I as a primary count, you'd be hard pressed to look at something other than 1-2. Now, if we go down here and we challenge this low, maybe you have to rethink that. But you know, even if you were thinking, right, so remember that one thought was, oh God, that's annoying. One thought was that the third was over here, and this would be the 4. Right, it doesn't overlap the 1, so technically it's possible, but I think this is much more likely. So the 1 is in, the 2 we've got the 3-wave extension in the C. So where's the next opportunity? It's again, just like we've shown 1,000 times, it would be right in here. So nice that we would get the lower parallel to potentially some market geometry to support that trade. But now I'm on a 3-hour here. This could take, it could be another week or two before we get there, right? But of course, we don't know. It could be there tomorrow. But that is essentially where you'd line this up, right? We've got a good candidate for the 1-wave is in. This is all consistent with potentially a larger degree count, with this being a C wave down here, 1, 2, 1, 2. That looks pretty juicy right there. So again, I look at that and I say, why would you not take that trade? Is there some, you'd have to be anticipating. I don't know how you'd talk yourself into, oh, it's going much lower, right? You'd be hard pressed to do that, other than the fact that we had golden zone up here. So I suppose you could make that case. You could come back to it and say, well, wait a minute, you just showed me how this was bumping into golden zone. Pardon me, it was up here that we had golden zone. So those were suggesting targets that were much below this pivot. So you do have that. But again, you want to put some context into where have we been last? What's the last dominant swing that happened? Well, we've had two back to back, right, that were bullish, right? So we hold, right? They break the 50. They're not to the tick perfect. They break the 50. Look, you break by almost the same amount here. So we've broken the 50, come away in 5. 3 down, now we're pushing off in what looks like the first of 5 is in. So, again, I come back to that and I go, if you're not taking that, what are you looking for? Right, you have very, very clear risk reward. You've got a first target here. You've got the potential for this to go to upper targets, because if we're going to get a good third, if we're going to get an Elliott third out of that, we know the -100. That's our shorthand. We know that's going to be very close to the 1618. So if we get this, that's a sexy looking trade right there. Why again? If you're not taking that, what are you taking? I don't know what. That frustrates me so here it is. It's just laying it out there for you, right? Doesn't mean it's a guaranteed winner. It just means that's what you're looking for. So look at the ingredients we have here. Okay. So we have pattern, right? So we have an Elliott wave impulsive structure. We've got so we've got 5 being corrected by 3. We have an impulsive move off of the pivot down here. The anticipation is that 3 will correct that. So we're in sync with what's happening on the larger degree. We have market geometry supporting the market. We have a potential setup in sync with that geometry. Now, there would be the alternate coming down here. There would be this, right? So you got to pay attention to them, right? So that maybe you make a deeper retracement, right? Okay, so shit, you got stopped out. Welcome to trading, right? But in terms of setting the trade up, I don't know what else you're looking for. All right, what do you want? The 200-day moving average? Sure, put it on there. Right. Well, here's the Vegas wave. Right. That's particularly for FX. That's gold. Right. So you come down here, Vegas wave starts to turn over. But you got to take that trade. The hard part is not taking the trade, it's staying with the trade. That could be a year, that could be a year-long trade. But that, I promise you, that'll make your year. Right? It's always one or two trades. It's the big winner, right? The losers, it's just trying to make sure you don't damage your account so you can't recover. That's the idea here. But when you get something like this where you can be very clear, so maybe a little first bites at the 50, you got a little add-on at the 618, your stops under the 65. If it's going to go below that, well, sure, it could go lower. Sure, it could do it. We go all the way down to the 887. So let's say it does that. Right? Look at that. So now we're in alignment with this median line. Right? So it's the same. It'd be the same idea. You still would have an internal correction. If it's a three-wave structure, maybe we go low. Maybe it wants to come down and tap that median line. Well, if it did that, right? Remember here, a little tougher to do it here because you don't have this algo working for you, right? You still have this one. Still have that guy working with you, but you wouldn't have this one. If you follow me here, this swing here, you would not have that algo working with you. You'd be running into the algo on the way back. So let me pull this off so you get the idea. So if this starts to come down and we're going to go deeper and we break the 65, well, then you're going to have to deal with this guy coming back. So let's say we go down here, we go deep. Where did I have it? Right here. All right, so as this comes back, big resistance, got to get through that to turn this into a third, right? But that all that does is confirm. So what that very well could be, if again, I'm fully hypothetical here, if we're going to come down here to get to that median line, the safer trade is to take the two, right? I've shown this 1,000 times. Why? You don't need to pick the pivot here because you don't have an algo working for you. You've got to find a way to get an algo in alignment with what you're doing. So if you're taking this and it breaks, well, then coming back and you get this kind of action. So we come up and then there's the retrace. Well, then you've got an algo working for you because that little guy right here. So again, let's say we go up to 38. Well, then you've got this one working for you, right? So you can get positioned in that with an algo behind your back, right? So you're here, right? So it would look like this. So you're coming up here, you get a little A, B, C, boom, right into the spot. You're looking for a third here. So that's looking for, this would be 1, 2, potentially 3. That could be 3 of the one wave of the third of the larger degree. Does that make sense? So here, this is all goes over here. So this could be just the 1, 2, 3. That could be the one wave of the third wave if we're going to go full Elliott here. If we're going to get a full kicker into a third. So 1, we go deep for the 2. Oh shit, man, I took a stop there. Oh, yeah, welcome to trading. Okay, so what's next? Have we invalidated the count? Can I get an algorithm behind me? What's happening in the geometry? Did we go to the median line or did this hold it here at the lower parallel? Right? There's always competing forces in the market. You got to know your opposition. What is the other side doing? Right? Again, it's not that hard. It's just putting it all together. It's a little challenging. I understand that. I'm not trying to say it's easy. That is not what I'm saying. Maybe the hardest way to make money on the planet. This is so you better have some skills and you better know what you're doing. You can't get in here and just fuck around. You'll just absolutely get eaten alive. And it's like anything. It looks, fuck, how hard can it be? It's going to go up or it's going to go down. Wish it was that easy, right? And particularly once you get money involved, you got emotion involved. So now your instincts are telling you to do all the wrong things. Market starts to go your favor. Oh God, I gotta grab profit. Market starts to go against you. Oh, I don't want to be stopped out. I'm moving my stop down. I'm moving it down. That'll hold it. It went down there once. I'll move it down. It'll make the 786. That is how you get in trouble. The point of all of this is to not put yourself in a position where you don't recover from that, guys. You don't. Now you're back to work to refund your account to get it back to where you can take this right the first time. And hopefully, having made that mistake, you don't repeat it again. Right? It's always do no damage to your account. So do not put yourself in a position to where you can't recover, which is why in every one of these videos, often there's no trade. I'm not going to give you a trade. I'm just going to tell you there's no trade. Right? I know people come here and like, where's the trade? I want the trade. Well, no trade is a decision you've made about what risk and reward in the market. No trade means I cannot put myself into a position where I have a probable outcome that I can lean into. Right? No algo behind me. I'm not taking that trade. I would not take this down here. I would take this. Right? See, you're going against the. Some of the smartest people on the planet have way more money than you and I combined will ever have in our lifetime. There is no way to compete in here with these guys unless you're ultra aware of their objective, which is to take your money. So you cannot put yourself in a position where they can do that to you. Right? You do not recover from it. You will not. Right? So number one rule, I'm always quick to take a break even or a small loser. If it doesn't look right, I'm out. I can always reload. This is going to go down lower. I can always reload because then I'll just wait for the next one. If that's going to go deeper and stop out, oh shit, man, 2 stops in a row. Well, yeah, welcome to trading. Okay, so where's the next one? Sooner or later, it's the time you don't take it that it goes. I fucking guarantee you. It's the time you go, oh, man, this shit doesn't work. I don't know. That's the one. You don't take it because you got stopped twice in a row. Guarantee you that's the one that goes. There has to be a consistency. It has to be, I take this trade every time. Can I combine all of those components? Do I have pattern? Do I have geometry? Do I have an algo behind me? Right? Can I see support and resistance? What's the larger degree? What's happening? Where can I put myself into the market, expose myself to that risk, have enough upside to where I'm compensated should I be right for taking that risk, and I don't put myself in a position where that can happen? That's trading right there. That's the essence of it. Now, add the emotion that goes when money's on stake. Well, there you go, right? It's really as simple as that, right? Can I get in the market and not damage my account? And that's what it comes down to. So, wow, it's a little bit longer here. Again, guys, you want to learn how to do this, right? We can help you with that, right? We don't just, as I've been reminding people, we don't just throw you into a Discord and say, here's some videos, good luck. That's not what we're doing. We are really going out of our way to make sure that you have internalized this, which is why we borrowed the martial arts belt system. You can't pass. We're not going to pass you just so that you like us. Oh, they're so nice to me in there. No, that's not what we're about. Right? Can you do this? Can you do this repetitively? Do you reach the point where you don't go, oh, I'm not so sure, where you just... You don't hesitate. You take that trade. That's the goal, guys. All right, with that, I will wrap. You can always learn more about what we're doing. You can visit our website. Probably learn more just going over to our Twitter feed. And then, of course, I'm always posting here. Right? So these are always go to the members first. And then towards the end of the day, I'll post them up here for you guys. Look, but all right. So for all we know, right? So this should be marked out. Right? It could be a month before that sets up. We don't know what that's going to look like. Right? Could be a month. All right, that's everything I got for you today, guys. Good luck. All right, back to you later.